Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Going to do another one-armed video for you, which it takes a lot of talent to do. I'm just joking. So these kits presented here are the oldest that I have as far as when they were produced, which leads me into something that I want to kind of get you guys. Now I've got your guys' opinion on this before, or you've freely given me your opinion on a matter that I'm going to bring up. Do I trust all those assumptions? I would say no, and you'll see where I'm going with this. So just really quick, just to go over what these are and when I got them. These three, the first three, this Tornado that had the story, remember my mom, well, I saw this at an antique store where I bought these two. I went ahead and purchased these two Renwall 48 scale kits that are from 1967. 66 rather, I'm sorry. These are from 1966 is when they were introduced. This kit was also there, and it's the 68 AMT Tornado, and it is from 1967. It's a 68 car, but it was actually released in 1967, and I passed on this. I didn't have quite enough money, probably was the situation. I don't think it was the actual cost, but so make a long story short, my mom was going back that direction by that antique store, and I said, if you get a chance to stop by there, would you go and see if that's still in there? Well, she did, and it was still there, so she picked that up for me. So these three kits are 1966. This is 1967, so they have quite a bit of age on them. Cool kits too. The Renwalls, the two 148 scale, they're complete, as well as the Tornado, except it's missing the instruction sheet. And here is one that's in pretty beat up shape, but it's still really cool. So it's a, what is this, a Palmer, 1964, and that is also when this was produced, 1964 Palmer, and it was a motorized kit. It had an electric motor, and for the most part, I think it's all here. I would never try to build it, but it's all in there, and it's a really cool kit. I've heard that these were probably, if you want to find a bad kit to build, find you a Palmer, because they say these were just horrible to build, and they're very simplistic. I can see why. It was $1.59. Wouldn't you like to go back in those days? Which $1.59 was not like $1.59 today. And then we get to these IMC 48 Ford convertibles, and the reason I've got these is because if you've watched any of my other videos, my dad built one of these, not the IMC, he built the testers. But when I began to look for, so I've got his old model kit, and I thought, you know, it'd be great to restore it. So I should find some spare parts. So when I start looking, I found I've got several of the testers kits. I've got two of the testers convertibles just like this one, and they're from the early 80s, I think 1985. But these are from 1960, what was it? 1965, I believe it is. It might have been 64, but I think 65. These were produced here. These IMC 48 Ford convertible. Once I started to try to find spare parts, I would get complete kits, and I'm like, well, they're complete kits. I don't want to rob something out of it. So anyway, I've acquired three of these older ones. Although this one the color has faded, it's the exact same kit. And now I'm going to get into what I wanted to talk to you about, or ask you about, really. Pick your brains. Some of you that have been in this hobby for as long as these kits have been out. How about that? Since the 60s. Because you're the only guys, I think, that are truly going to know what I'm about to bring up. So the first one of these that I bought was this one, the IMC. And it was noted, I think it was noted that it was a sealed kit. So I'm like, oh cool, 1965, it's sealed. I paid, I think I paid over $70 for it with the shipping included, which is a lot for a model kit. But when I got it, I had several of you guys say, that's not original wrapper. That's not an original seal. That plastic that's wrapped with, somebody's ripped you off. Possibly ripped you off. That's not original. I'm like, dang. You know, that could very likely be the case. Then I bought 2 more. And this one's got, the plastic's been opened. It's still on the top, but it's been opened. And this one was totally opened. It has no plastic on it at all. And so what I heard is in the 60s they didn't wrap the kits in plastic. They only taped them. And I do realize that is the case. And if you've noticed some of the Revell kits today, they're not even wrapping them in plastic anymore. They're just taping them, and I don't like that, to be honest with you. I'd rather it be wrapped in plastic. Seems like it helps to keep it preserved longer. But I noticed on this Palmer kit, and it's going to sound like I've dumped the trash can out when I turn it over. But you see the, okay, so that tape there on the side is not original. I can't point with my other finger because it's in a sling right now. But that's masking tape. But right beside the masking tape is the remnants of an original piece of tape. Right there on that. It goes like halfway up that wheel disc there. And then the box is turned. Let me see if I can turn the box around. It should match up. I guess it should. But this box, I think, would have come taped. I don't think it would have come with a... Yeah, it's going to match up now, I think. Yeah, definitely. Alright, so if you'll notice the old tape here, which there's no tape anymore, it just looks like glue. It matches up perfectly with the old piece of tape on the box. So the top portion of the box matches perfectly with the bottom portion of the box. And more than likely, the same thing on this side. Yeah, it does. So you've got the old tape under the masking tape, and you can see where it... Okay, so that's original packaging. This would have been just like this, just a box with tape on it. I get it. I totally get it. I believe you there. That's what this would have been. However, these other, like these Renwalls, these are 1966, and they must have been plastic covered because there's no remnants. You would have glue marks on the, you would have tape showing the glue. There's nothing on these Renwalls. So that's 1966. And then the 67 AMT, I believe it would have also been plastic covered because there's no evidence at all for any tape. So I'm convinced this would have been plastic covered 1967. So maybe we've moved into the era of covering them with plastic. As well as these Renwalls, they had to have had a plastic seal, shrink wrap, because they have no tape evidence either. 64 does. That's the older. Now here we go, 1965, and there is no. So what I was told is you got ripped because they didn't have them. They weren't sealed in those days. But you see there is absolutely no tape marks on the bottom of this kit. None. Had to have been wrapped in plastic, or else the boxes would just come apart. You know, you had to have them sealed some way, but there's no tape, none whatsoever. Which leads me to the conclusion they didn't tape them. They sealed them with a heat shrink. And I've also had the ones who say they didn't have that technology. They didn't even have heat shrink, whatever. I understand your arguments, but I think maybe the arguments are being pulled from a different manufacturer. Here we've got Palmer, who was in 1964 doing it. I don't know when they stopped, but these IMC kits from 1965 had no tape. There's no tape marks at all. And that would be the evidence to say they weren't wrapped originally. So this is what I wanted to know from you guys. Is this, if you could see this in person, you'd say, that's some pretty old plastic. Is this kit been opened? Has it been opened? Have I been ripped? Is it full of cotton balls? I do hear a piece of plastic, but it's pretty solid. That gives me evidence to say it's never been cracked open, because, you know, they pack those things in there so well. Because if you get the kits that have been opened, you start to hear pieces move around. This kit, I didn't show you the insides of this one, and it's a complete kit as well. One of the kits is missing a convertible top. One of the different tops. Golly, this is hard to do with one hand, or 1.5 hands. Well, I want to get it off just to see what the contents look like. Okay, well, it's the same as the other one. Exactly the same. I think even the that card was there. It's almost as if these kits have been into, because I've taken the parts out and looked at them. So I've stacked them in there as best I could. But again, going back to my point, or my original intent of this video, is that kit that is totally sealed an original sealed kit, or has someone resealed it? I mean, I would say that this is original plastic. Why would they even want to leave it on there after the bottom's been, you know, cut away? And you can see the seal marks, or the shrink marks here. And then you've got this one, which I do believe, and I've got other evidence that I would say that it's originally sealed, never been opened. But the plastic is brown. It looks old where it's sealed at. I have no reason to think that it wouldn't be original. The way it's sealed, and if I could hold it with my other hand, I was gonna. I mean, it's old hard plastic. It's nothing that's been done recently. If someone had redone it. And another thing is, like, why would anybody care to reseal a package? All right, so other evidence that leads me to the conclusion this is a brand new kit that's never been opened is when you have a kit that has been opened, you're going to get some sort of wear around the edge of the box. The edge of the box is going to show signs of me trying to pull it up while ago. The fingers just rolling the edge of the. So this one has obviously evidence. I mean, it's obvious this one's been opened. It has no plastic on it, and I've opened it before. But you see those telltale signs of wear where people have opened them. This one, look, see, there's a spot right there. It's obvious that this kit's been opened, even though it's got the plastic on top of it. But now with this one, if you'll look, if this thing will focus, just take note of what the edge looks like. This box has not been opened. There's no way that you could convince me, if no other reason but look at the condition of the box, that this is just set on a shelf somewhere for the last 50 years. What would 65 be? Let's see, I'm 76, I'm 45, 66, 55, about 54 years. There's no evidence that this kit has ever been opened. So I'm going to go with the conclusion, because of the evidence. So how do juries do that? They present the evidence, right? The evidence is that such and such had a gun, and there was evidence that there was a gun. There's evidence that they pulled the trigger, blah, blah, blah. this evidence, if I'm the jury and I'm looking at this, and my whatever is to say that this kit, was it opened or is this original sealing sealed, I would say it's unanimous that this sealed package is original, and the seal, the plastic is the original seal, because there's no evidence that it's ever been removed. So what I want you guys to do, if you don't mind, and let's be nice about it, because I know things like this can turn into an argument in the comment section, and that's not the intent of this at all. I tried to do some research on IMC, on any kit, as actually, to see when they stopped using tape and began to use cellophane or shrink wrap, and I can't really find anything that even gives me any evidence that about any of it. I couldn't find anything. It's like you'll pull up a forum where someone's talking about it, but you don't really get any hardline evidence when any of these companies, and I know per company it's going to be different. IMC would have operated how IMC wanted to operate. AMT, Palmer, Renwall, they would have all been making these choices on their own when the availability of the technology arrived. But you're not going to convince me by saying that they didn't have plastic, because I can't find any evidence online, and I can't find any evidence otherwise that it would have been anything but plastic covered, because there's no tape marks. So I'm going to hold with my original conclusion or original thought when I bought this, that it's an originally sealed 1965 IMC kit with the original plastic cover or original shrink wrap on it. I'm going to go with that, and I'm interested to see in the comments what you guys think about that. If you want to look the kit up, it is IMC number 105-200. So if you want to try to dig in and find some research, maybe to prove this the conclusion I've come to, if you can prove it wrong, I would absolutely take that if we have evidence or proof to say no, IMC did not use plastic to cover their models until whatever year. So anyway, I thought this would be an interesting topic, so maybe you guys can check into that, and let's see what we can find out, dig into the history of some of these model producers. Alright guys, thanks for watching this. I've been wanting to do this video, and I just have put it off, but I know that there are so many knowledgeable people in this hobby that have been doing this since something like this has been produced. I get so many people say, Matt, I've been building since 1960 or whatever, and I'm like mesmerized, and I wish you were my next door neighbor, because I would love to talk about those things and pick your brain. So that's kind of what I wanted to do here. You guys that have experience, have been in it for so long, please let me know what you think about that, and don't disregard the evidence that I've provided, because I think it holds a strong case for my conclusion. Anyway, alright, court is adjourned. Thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Go over to our Facebook group and join there. We're having a great time at our Facebook group. Almost 2,000 members. Going great. Thank you to Chris Callen and Troy Roberts for helping me over there as admins. Also, go to Hobby Nut Models and check out Mark's inventory. Kits, supplies, paints, glues, everything you need for your models, regardless if it's a plane, a ship, well, I don't know if he's got any ships, but a plane or armor or a car. Go over there and check out hobbynutmodels.com. All those are linked in the description below, and don't forget to go to my Teespring store and check out my inventory there. I would be greatly appreciative if you would go pick up a t-shirt, a mug, a hoodie, a sticker, or anything of that sort. Anyway guys, I'm done with this. Until the next thing I can drum up in my mind to talk about, I'm done with this one. So you guys take care, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.